Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to the video. Today we're going to start what might be a new series on this channel where I talk about the Minecraft store, which is available on the Xbox, Pocket Edition and Windows 10 version of the game, or the Bedrock version to put it all together. And although this isn't necessary, you can get maps for free still, it is something a lot of people do when they're just like, you know what, I'm kind of bored of Minecraft, I want to pick up a new map. And a lot of people, when they're deciding to do this, just pick the most exciting thumbnail or title for a map, and I feel like this is actually kind of a terrible way to decide, because there are a lot of great maps in the store for lots of great different people, but it's not necessarily easy to work out which ones are for you or which ones aren't, and because there's no trial system, I figured I'd make this series to go over some of the maps in the store and let you know which ones might be worth your purchase and which ones you can look at and say, no, that's not really my thing. So in today's video, I'm going over one of the most purchased maps of all time. In fact, the most purchased map of all time that isn't an add-on or isn't a mashup pack. It is the Kingdom of Torchwall, because we confirmed with Aubrey Norris, the Player's Choice category is the most purchased stuff, and the most purchased non-mod, non-mashup pack map is the Kingdom of Torchwall. So in today's video, that's what we're talking about. Hopefully you all do enjoy it. You can like this if you do like it, because it helps out the channel, and let us know you do like this new series and perhaps want to see it every single week on this channel in the Sunday slot. So with that said, here you can see the Kingdom of Torchwall looks pretty great when you see the pictures. It's an amazing medieval kingdom that you can use as like a base for your world, but the truth is it's a very confusing map in terms of what exactly it wants to be and what you really achieve it, and that's why I figured it'd be useful to see this video so you can really understand what the world is all about. Because again, there are some maps, the maps category is so broad. There are some maps that are, like expanded, like modded things where they take the world, they turn it into something entirely different. There are some maps where, okay, so let's quickly turn this off. I think that's everything we need to go into it. There are some maps that really take the idea and turn it into like this modded survival. Some maps turn it into just like, oh yeah, it's a survival challenge because you're gonna get all of these blocks. But this map doesn't really do any of that sort of stuff. And although it looks a little bit like it wants to be a Hunger Games map or like it wants to be something else, the truth is this is a map you're meant to be either using, one, because you want a survival world which is already built for you, or two, because you want a just amazing creative world to look at. And for 660 coins, which is a little bit cheaper than some of maps, that might be something that's worthwhile, but I think it's worth knowing what you get yourself into, and it's also worth knowing just how amazing the map actually is, because from the screenshots, it's hard to really get an idea of the scale of this thing, and it's a lot bigger than I expected at first, but again, depending on what you expect, it might be different stats. So let me just show you. Here's the map you get in when you spawn. It's very confusing to work out exactly what's going on. You're like, okay, so I'm in survival, and what should I do then? And you figure, let's go chop down some trees. But the confusing thing about this map is that if you want to chop down trees and actually play survival Minecraft, which it says is what the map is kind of based around, you have to go a really far way out to even find any trees, and these trees are like, artificially made trees, so you're like, okay, well I guess we'll go even further out than that to find any fresh Minecraft trees. Because the thing is even though you might figure that like, oh yeah, well because it's got this huge medieval kingdom, they'll change the biomes and they'll make the challenge custom. No, the way the world works is you have this amazing pre-built thing by some really great talented builders, very clearly, but then after you go beyond that, it's just regular survival Minecraft, and you've got to kind of mix the two in any way you want to see fit. And although personally I kind of see some of the appeal of this, because again, look at the size of this thing, look how great it is. One of the great things about Minecraft is having something great and just improving it day by day. Maybe if you're just starting a new world and you want to get that experience without having to do it from scratch, this might be a really great way to do that. But the one problem I have with that is it means that you'll never be able to build anything as great as the stuff you'll find here. Look at this castle right here and then tell me how you would improve this in survival, bear in mind. And I don't think you really can necessarily come up with a good answer. And although you might say, oh yeah, well there's some survival content, and there actually is. There's some crypts you can go raid which have zombies. There isn't really any giant challenges. There's no like fun challenges in terms of like, oh yeah, you've got to do this or that or stuff will happen. Instead, there are just some spawners you'll find around the map, which guard your chests which contain apples to iron to diamonds. And although it looks kind of great on the surface, it mostly is just like a fun go explore this map in survival, like try and get all the chests. The chests contain usually non-important things like food, sometimes like an iron bar, sometimes a diamond bar, sometimes even better than that. Okay, we've got some torches in this one, but for the most part, and here we go. As you can see, this one contains a diamond and 2 emeralds, but for the most part, it's just like, there's a bunch of chests around the map, they give you a bit of food, and then there's a few challenges around the map that you can kind of go with, and then there's some secrets you can find around there too, and which, for the record, lead into regular caves eventually, as best I can tell. Again, it's a really exciting, interesting map, but the thing is it means that the actual survival challenge is not really necessarily there, which makes this mostly, in my opinion, I feel like using it as a survival-based experience isn't something I don't personally get out of it. Maybe it is for someone out there, but for me, it's more of like you can explore this map, again, maybe in survival if you want to, but mostly this map is made to be explored in some amount of survival sense, but mostly it's like a creative map you can look around and really get an idea as to like the scale of something cool you can build. You might think like, oh yeah, I have this great idea for a map, or I have this amazing thing I could build, look at this, and then you can kind of get a better appreciation for it. It's more of like a mashup pack world, minus all the other things you get in a mashup pack, which again, sounds like a great deal for some people. I feel like the number of building tips you can get from this, the amount of stuff you could decide, like, I'm going to build and add on to this, would be really great. You could convert this, if you wanted to, into a Hunger Games map, which it doesn't by default do, but you could see how easily you could do something like that, and I feel like that's where the true benefit of this map lies. It's a starter, a really amazing start with so much going on. Look at the size of this castle, your castle by the way. It has so many rooms, which you don't necessarily need, especially not in survival, but it has so many rooms which you can go check out. Like, look, here's an archery range, here's like a mini church room, or like a sitting room or something. If you look inside each of these, inside the actual castle, you'll see how there's like this big, okay, let's just break in. There's this big corridor, and there's just room after room after room with beds in them, which might be your thing. You might want to have a giant manor, but it's mostly here because, like, yeah, in creative, it teaches you how to have lots of different rooms and differentiate them. I feel like this build is really like a mixture between a lesson in building and an opportunity to convert it into something you might like. Again, if you look around the map, it's got like lots of varied scenery. Like, there's a castle on the hill, which is made on this like perfect mountain. Like, it's a great example of like building into the terrain. Then we've got this like church over here. We've got this big kind of township area. We've got some nature areas, and it just kind of shows that, like, yeah, we've got lots of themed areas on a map which you can then convert into your own thing. It's not like a map that comes pre-built and gives you fun by default, but it gives you the opportunity to make your own fun in an easier way than you otherwise could. Either in the survival sense, where you can, again, you can play survival here in theory. Even though this is what the map recommends, I wouldn't really say that's a good thing, but it's mostly just about, like, here is a map you can take and really turn into your own. Like, you paid for it, so it's fine to turn it into your own Hunger Games map. It's, you know, that's, no one's going to complain. If you want to, you take this, you can turn it into any kind of minigame map you like, and that's the thing I really value in it. You can play hide and seek if you want, and isn't that going to be easy? But the thing is all of these conversions do take a little bit of extra effort, and you might think to yourself, well, if I'm going to go through the effort, should I purchase this? And that's the one thing I'd say before you pick this up. It's the most purchased map, and it's clearly one of the best maps available in the store in terms of just look at all the amazing things they did. The guys who built this clearly put so much effort in, and it's an amazing map for it, but it just raised the question of, like, what do you actually get from it? And I think the answer is, like, you have to build something yourself here, and be aware of that before you pick up this map. So yeah, what is my overall review of this map? I'd say it's one of the better looking, you know, things you can pick up, and it's got so much detail and so much great stuff everywhere, but it runs into the issue of, like, it personally, of, like, not necessarily going far enough. Like, it looks like it should go further, and then it doesn't. Where, for instance, where this forest ends, you can see how it just spawns right into a mesa, or in this case, some missing chunks, but you can see how it just spawns right into a mesa, and that just feels really oddly out of place. It'd be nice if they had, like, some custom challenges out there. Maybe there is, and I'm just an idiot and I didn't find them, but it looks like it just blends right into survival Minecraft, and again, I'm pretty sure that's what happens. I did a little bit of looking around, and maybe I'm horribly wrong, but it just blends into regular survival Minecraft, which kind of then means that, yeah, there's not any real reason to use this map for survival, and I feel like every single sort of map that says it's for survival, did those villagers all spawn in at once? Every map that, like, kind of says it's for survival, like this one is it going to happen again over here? Every map that says it's for survival, like this one is, should probably have some form of survival content built into it. Like, oh yeah, well, this mount, you know, maybe have a volcano out here, and that's its own challenge you can explore in survival, or maybe even just, like, if you make the terrain interesting in some way to make the map justifiable, I think that'd be great. But otherwise, yeah, just keep in mind, this isn't a survival map, this is really a creative map, or it's a thing you can convert into a survival map in some way yourself, and also keep in mind, it's the most purchased map of all time, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to give you instant entertainment, and just keep that in mind as you go forwards. However, amazing map, really great in every single way, and something I really personally like, and I'm glad I have this in my collection as, like, a map template to start from. So yeah, thank you very much for watching today's video. Like if you liked it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here, and let me know if you want to see, you know, perhaps another review next week of another Minecraft map, because I think it's kind of fun, like, all these maps exist, it's worth sorting what's what, and because there's no trial system, watching these sorts of videos might be something you do value. And also, in some maps case, like, again, if you wanted to see this map just for the pure beauty, maybe you get that from today's video, and maybe that's something you value there too. But yeah, with that said, hope you all enjoyed the video. Like it if you liked it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here, and make sure you hit the bell so you see these notifications every single day on your homepage. Goodbye, everybody.